Elena sat at her desk at Bright Toys Inc., surrounded by blueprints and prototypes. Before her lay a thick folder of safety reports that she had been reading all morning. As the lead engineer, it was her job to ensure that every toy the company produced was safe for the world to play with. She picked up the new Smart Block, a brightly colored electronic cube. It was designed for a toddler to learn their first words and colors. However, as Elena turned the toy over in her hands, she noticed a small, sharp crack forming near the battery compartment. She opened her employee handbook to review her contract. The terms and conditions were very strict regarding company secrets. Elena knew that if she spoke about a product defect to anyone outside the company, she could lose her job, her pension, and her reputation. In the hallway, she met Marcus, the project manager. He looked exhausted and had dark circles under his eyes. "I'm so tired, Elena," he sighed. "My wife is away for work, and I've realized that 2 children are too much for me to handle alone. I just need this toy to launch on time so I can take a vacation." Elena went back to her lab to perform one final stress test. She dropped the toy from a height of only 3 feet. To her horror, the plastic casing shattered into several sharp, jagged pieces right before her very eyes. It wasn't just a small defect, it was a disaster. She used a small metal tool to examine the internal wiring of the broken pieces. The design was incredibly tricky, with wires packed too tightly against the heat-producing battery. It was a fire hazard, but fixing the design would mean delaying the launch by 6 months. At lunch, Elena sat with her friend Sarah from the marketing department. Sarah leaned in close to whisper, "They say the company is in serious financial trouble, Elena. If the Smart Block doesn't hit stores by Monday, the CEO might close this entire office." Elena knew she couldn't stay silent, even if it meant the end of the company. Late that night, she decided to tuck the shattered prototype and a copy of the safety reports into her briefcase. Her heart hammered against her ribs as she prepared to leave the building. As she reached the lobby, a loud whistle echoed through the empty hall. Elena froze, her face turning pale. It was only Arthur, the night security guard, signaling for a delivery truck to stop at the gate, but the sound made her realize the gravity of her choice. The next morning, Elena met with a national news reporter. She told the truth about the Smart Block and the fire risk. She knew she would be called a whistleblower and that her life would change forever, but as she thought of the children who would now stay safe, she finally felt at peace.